the media every day. And that is why we are pleading with you that you prohibit media coverage. And if it is to be allowed, I will suggest 3 instances. The first one is already in the past. The second one is at case to answer, which is we are yet to get there. And at the worst, in the event that we are put on our defense, then the last one should be on the date of judgment. But not to keep themselves busy here in between. Your Honor, I have one decision of the High Court. I've shared a copy with my learned friend. It's a civil one though. Edmond Steel Millers Limited versus Royal Media Services Limited. I wouldn't be surprised that we have somebody from RMS and 2 others. My Lord, Your Honor, I have highlighted paragraph 30. But the most important one, for that, I think the court was just highlighting what is already in the Constitution. But the interpretation, my Lord, I would like to refer you. I know at your convenience you'll have a look at the decision, but I would like to refer you to paragraph 43. Give some guidelines on what the court may want to do with regard to regulating media coverage. My Lord, I'm at 43.1 and 43.3. The more serious the charge, the more the public is misinformed and the individual harmed if the allegation is not true. You can imagine the harm that we stand to suffer if it turns out that the allegations made against the accused are not true. Number 3, third sentence. Some have their own access to grind or are being paid for their stories. I have no reason to cast aspersions on the media because they earn a salary, but I have no reason to cast aspersions of being paid for their stories. But they earn something from it. So I'll be inviting you, Your Honor. I also went out of my way. Nowadays the internet is awash with all manner of info. So I got some document on the presumption of innocence and the media coverage of criminal cases. Your Lordship, Your Honor will have your own time at your convenience to have a look. But I invite you for now to page 32, which talks about presumption of innocence. There's a need to balance the presumption of innocence and media coverage. I will let it, Your Honor, to have a look at it. And also page 35, if Your Honor may have a look at that. There's a quote at page 35. In balancing the tribe of freedom of expression, the right to privacy, and the presumption of innocence, it is necessary to distinguish between what interests the public from what is in the public interest. Is the media coverage of this particular case what interests the public or in the public interest? The former is the answer. There's nothing like public interest in this situation. It is what interests the public in the opinion of the media. So they cannot turn around and claim that they are covering these proceedings in the public interest. There are much more important issues that they need to cover in the public interest. Your Honor, page 32, 36, I have also highlighted privacy concerns in the context of media coverage on criminal cases and publicity and what have you. There's a fear of distortion. fear of distortion, and they are very good at it. The fear of distortion. So that we maintain the integrity of this proceeding, kindly regulate how they should do it. Lastly, Your Honor, I hope I'm still in my, I'm on my 10th minute. Your Honor, Article 34, Sub-Article 5. Talks of all state-owned media. If you allow me just 2 more minutes of my 10, thank you. All state media shall, 1, be free to determine independently the editorial content of their broadcasts or other communications, be impartial, that is number B, and number C, afford fair opportunity for the presentation of divergent views and dissenting opinions. But the catch is, all state-owned media shall. At least for state-owned media, a regulation is in the Constitution itself. For the rest, who are likely to be the majority, it is not here. So we plead with you that you come in and protect us from their coverage that is prejudicial to the proceedings, including the photos that they have quite taken in huge numbers. Your Honor, I therefore kindly plead with you that you allow our request to gag the media from the coverage, and if you are to allow them, you grant certain restrictions that will protect the right of the accused person to being presumed innocent as opposed to being prosecuted in the court of public opinion. That is all, Your Honor, and we so pray. I wish I had known that they were to be here. The first time we came during plea, there was something. If you allow me, I will produce. But as I stand before you, I don't have media coverage in criminal matters. If there was nothing, I wouldn't just have been acting out of caution. But as I appear before you, I must admit that I have nothing.
Lines. Provides for the certain values like transparency, integrity, and good governance. Your Honor, under that article, you have a duty to ensure that cases before you are available or are open to the public, say for instances, specific instances, Your Honor, where you have the discretion to restrict media coverage. although the guidelines do not give a conclusive list, as that is left to the judicial officer to determine on a case-by-case basis. There are cases such as cases involving minors, especially identification of minors, or cases where fair trial may be jeopardized, are not prejudiced or threatened. Your counsel has not tabled evidence to show how the right to a fair trial of his client are prejudiced. He has only made some assumptions or anticipated probably instances where that the rights of his counsel may be prejudiced. If that happens, it is the duty of the court to make that determination and to give relevant curatory orders. As I conclude, I also want to point out that the victims of this offense also have a right to participate in the proceedings. And I disagree with my colleague that this matter does not raise public interest. For the reason that the case involves land. Everybody in this court and in this country is aware that land matters are very emotive. The issue of administration of land and protection of the right to property are of high public interest. And if there may be no other reason, that solely is enough to sway the decision of this court towards allowing for a public trial. For those reasons, I cede grounds to my senior colleague to proceed.
Has not laid any legal basis on why media coverage should be gagged or even limited before this honorable court. Your Honor, Article 24 of the Constitution as much as it provides for limitation of rights and fundamental freedoms, Your Honor, it also states that in order for those rights and fundamental freedoms to be limited, there has to be a reason that is justifiable and that is lawful for that to happen. Then I'll also refer this honorable court to the Judiciary Media Guidelines, under the said guidelines, there has been nothing that has been misreported, or misrepresented by the media that has impacted the accused person negatively. The same has not been tabled before this honorable court. Your Honor, criminal cases, apart from the ones that have been pointed out by my colleague, which I will not repeat, are public hearings, Your Honor. Your Honor, this case is not special. Then I therefore urge this honorable court to disallow the application made by counsel for the accused person. That is all, Your Honor.
Do not need media coverage for it to be transparent and accountable in the manner in which the charges is clear. The court took an oath of office and is strictly guided by it, and the discharge of its duties. It doesn't need assistance in the media. The fact is no longer was brief, but you substantively appear. You can even make representations unlike before when you had to go through the prosecution. There has been no representation under the Victim Protection Act. And nobody has stopped them from representation. So they cannot be said that they are being represented through media coverage. So they are sitting somewhere waiting for some media house to shoot something out there. Then they get to see what has happened. If they want to participate, they have a right to do so under the Victim Protection Act. And my Lord, Your Honor, my learned friend again talked of land matters being motive, matters of interest and all that. It is that emotive element that in itself can be a temptation to the media to stray. And lastly, Your Honor, my learned friends have both of them talked about a public trial. This is a trial being conducted in open courts. That in itself is evidence that it's a public trial. It's not a trial being conducted in camera. So there can be nothing like, because it's a public trial, the media have to be there to demonstrate it's a public trial. And lastly, my Lord, Your Honor, this I can say off record. It's unfortunate, I think it escaped my mind. I wish I had an opportunity to peruse the judiciary media guidelines. I would have had a comment or two. But because I have not done so, I will leave it at that. That is all. So,
George Muli Musau.